Hello! This video is about one of my favorite pieces of art that I've ever done. And it may look simple and it may look, I don't know, whatever, but this one is one of my favorites. It is It's a play on Magritte's The Treachery of Images. It says, "This is not a pipe" in French, and that's a Bic pen. And God, I wish I had, money to have not do these videos like the cheapest way possible and whatever. But it's one of my favorite paintings because it's a Bic pen, and the reason that it's a Bic pen and it says that this is not a pipe is because I used to work at the syringe exchange, and we would hand out safer smoking supplies because people were transitioning away from shooting drugs intravenously to smoking drugs via a Bic pen, a piece of tin foil, and a lighter, and you would put the pressed fentanyl pill onto the piece of foil, and then you take the Bic pen in your mouth, and then you put the pill on the piece of foil, and then you light under the foil with the lighter, and then you take the Bic pen and you suck up the smoke that comes off of the pill, and that's fentanyl. That's the way that you smoke fentanyl, and like people in the city that you live in do that, and it's insane because fentanyl, I think, is like 1,000 times stronger than morphine. Sorry, I forgot the data, but yeah, we would hand out the safer smoking kits because prevention is cheaper than treatment. So if you can prevent someone from getting an STI or, cracked lips that lead to transmission of Hep C, or basically it's all about transmission of Hep C. But if you can prevent someone from getting a disease, it's cheaper to do that than it is to treat the disease, because treatment for hepatitis C costs like $80,000, but handing someone a Bic pen and a lighter and a piece of foil costs like, I forget what it was, like $2 something every time. So economically, if you don't have to be an economic genius to understand that concept, right? Drugs are net negative, probably, overall. I'm not advocating that you do drugs. I'm just saying, human beings do drugs all the time, and they have done drugs since the beginning of time. Alcohol is a drug. It's a drug that is socially accepted because you get nothing but inseminated into your mind that it's okay to do, and you should do it, and it's fun to do. And so all drugs are the same. They all do the same thing. They alter your state of consciousness. Now, we, for some reason, have stigmatized the shit out of some drugs, but other drugs are chill for you to do and promoted for you to do. Alcohol being that one, But you know, you shouldn't, in our society, you shouldn't do meth, but it's perfectly okay to have a doctor prescribe methamphetamine to 15-year-old and younger, I don't even know, children so that they can study better because they are ADHD. ADHD's real, but, you know, I'm just trying to make the point about drugs. And human beings do drugs because they're fun, right? Alcohol's fun until it's not, but that's my opinion because I'm a degenerate alcoholic. But anyways, fentanyl. Yeah, so you can smoke fentanyl off of a piece of foil. Don't do that. It leads to only negative outcomes, unless you're like Hamilton Morris or one of those people who's just like, I like to try things and just see what happens, and I don't get addicted because I'm just a nerd. But if you're like me and you try it once, you will get cripplingly addicted and end up doing things for money that you otherwise wouldn't down by the river. Not that that happened to me, but that's generally the trajectory of things, because it's exceedingly addictive. But the reason that I like this piece of art so much is that it's like it's just a play on Magritte's painting. The like paraphernalia laws and stuff, and everything like that. People, like the cops, are gonna say that it's a pipe, but it's not a pipe. It's a Bic pen, and it's got all of that. It's an opportunity for me to tell you about drugs and harm reduction, because harm reduction rocks. Harm reduction works. Harm reduction is cool, and it saves you money. It saves todos los personas en las country. It saves us money when you prevent rather than treat, right? So yeah, I really like that painting. Or it's not a painting, it's a drawing. And sometimes like the simplest ones that you do are, you know, the ones that you like the most. And I gave a lot of those pens to people, and I knew a lot of people in like really crazy circumstances, and I heard a lot of crazy stories, and I miss being in the harm reduction world, and I wanted to tell you about harm reduction. And pens, Bic pens, you can freebase. Don't do it. Again, like I said, negative outcomes. You know, but that, yeah, it's just an insane reality that we live in, okay? That's what I'm trying to get at with this piece, is that, you know, we all are like, oh no, my coffee wasn't that good this morning, or like whatever small like problem. Like today I had to call the DMV. That was annoying. I did not enjoy doing that. But it's all about perspective, because you could be freebasing fentanyl off of a piece of tinfoil and be cripplingly addicted to it because a doctor somewhere down the line overprescribed you medication because the Sackler family told the doctor that, yeah, this drug has no addictive quality to it, and you can just, it's just a pain medication that has no side effects, and so you busted your hip when you were 15, and then all of a sudden the doctor was shoveling you pain medication, and then the pain medication runs out, but all of a sudden you have a crippling opioid addiction, and you can't afford to buy name brand Oxycontin, so you go and you get heroin, and then after a while of doing heroin doesn't cut it anymore because your body's built up a tolerance to it, and you've done it for so long that you need to do other things, and then all of a sudden these drugs are being flooded into the street by the name of fentanyl coming from wherever, and flood the street. It's 1,000 times stronger. It might be even stronger than that, than morphine, which is already very strong. And you have to smoke it because that's like the cheaper way of ingesting it. Like if you were to take the pill, that costs you $4, but if you take a pill and get 80 hits off of it, or however many hits you can get off of a fentanyl pill, that stretches it, right? And it's I don't know, just prevention is cheaper than treatment, okay? Does that... obviously if you think that doing drugs is morally bad, then we're having a different conversation. But if I can back the idea to you about alcohol, but if you even have never drank before in your life, you won't understand what the fuck it is that I'm talking about. So I can't help you. But if you accept the reality that some people do drugs, you have to accept the reality that preventing people from fucking themselves up worse helps everyone, because if we have a healthy society, it's cheaper, okay? Do you understand what I'm telling you? I'm just avoiding. I need to go turn in resumes to coffee shops, but I don't want to do that, so I'm making this video. You're welcome.